And we're back with Stage 2 of Ironsword, the water stage. It was by far the easiest level out of any of the Wizards and Warriors games. And when I say easy, I mean this level is so easy, there's no reason you should die unless you go out and take a bathroom break without putting your game on pause. We're going to start off by taking a little detour and going to this door here, because surprisingly enough, there's actually an item in the shop that we want to buy. Diamond Sword's a great weapon for this part of the game because it's about 3 times our size and makes the perfect sword to use as a battering ram for most of the first couple of levels. In this hidden room, we see the first appearance of steam guys. They're not really anything dangerous, all they just do is bounce you around a little bit. What makes the second stage so easy is just the fact that the enemies here are weak compared to the rest of the game, and they're generally docile and they don't shoot out all that many bullets. I guess the developers at Rare, while they were programming the first level, said, you know what, this is too hard, let's cut them a little break. It's great to see that once they got around to the third board, they said, you know what the hell are we thinking, we need to jack the difficulty back up. And this room is where you find what's really the most dangerous enemy of the entire level, the floating mouths. Anytime you enter a room with these floating mouths, the best bet is just to book it all the way through to the end and stop to get the treasures only on the way back. That's because if you give these guys half a chance, they'll really mess your stuff up to the tune of one-hit kills sometimes. These floating mouths are more dangerous enemies than the elementals, and well, they certainly don't hold back. The snakes that you see hanging from tree branches are really not that much of a threat. That's because they don't appear in very large numbers, they're relatively avoidable, and it's not like you got dive-bombing eagles coming at you at the same time. By collecting these last 2 keys, we pretty much have all the keys we need for the first half of the level. The only time you need to go to the shop to buy more is if you're just really unlucky or intentionally trying to mess things up for yourself. The area at the base of the tree is the perfect place to farm for gold with familiar spell because the toads pose absolutely no threat to you whatsoever, and they spawn infinitely. Now the water spout spell is what we need in order to get the gold and fly and get to the next part of the stage, but it's completely a pain in the ass where they programmed it. To get to that, let's pick up the last piece of equipment that we need to make a real knight, and that's a shield. Water Spout is a spell that only has one use to it, so if you don't use it properly, you gotta run all the way back to the chest and pick up another instance of it. The other thing is that it disappears from your inventory if you go into a room, whether on purpose or by accident. So if you do so, you gotta waste a key in order to open up the chest again. I guess they programmed it that way because they didn't want people to take it on later in the game and try to bypass some of the other mechanics, but it's a pain in the ass when you accidentally step on a secret room and then you gotta go running all over the place just to try to get another key. Down here we're going to run across a lot more floating mouths, but now we have to take our time because there's one particular secret room we're trying to get to. So here we find a second one up in the level. It's really great to be able to stockpile them now before they get to be incredibly rare and incredibly expensive to buy. And of course, if you miss going into that room, there's no way of getting back up there in order to pick it up, so you really only got one shot to get it. You'll notice that the boss's health meter is now popped up, meaning that we're in the same room as him. He's all the way over to the right, so we're going to head the other direction for now. That little waterfall takes us to the next part of the stage. We're going to bypass it for now because there's something else we want to pick up. These purple guys here will completely wreck you if you try to rush through the room. They're absolutely lethal on the way down, but only harmless on the way back up. Again, without invincibility frames, well, if you get hit by one, it's pretty much a guaranteed death right there. And bonus item number 2, the Cross of Cinderin. Again, nice to get if you're a completionist, but serves absolutely no purpose. And of course, what would a mystical fantasy game be without an underwater stage? So even though that we're enclosed in several hundred pounds of movable plate mail, we can jump to incredible heights simply because we're underwater. This area down here gives you pretty much all the magic you'll need for the rest of the stage. There's no need to seek out for any other sources of hidden magic bubbles. Of course, what would a magical fantasy world be without zombies swimming around underwater? But of course, I'm one never to pass up a couple of extra points. And surprise, surprise, even in a game like this, there are illusionary walls. Now that we've got the elemental magic, let's try to find our way out of this hellhole. More floating now, so fortunately for us, these guys don't home in like heat-seeking missiles. Here we have another hidden treasure with a real dick move. They hide coins at these platforms, and then make it impossible for you to pick up half of them. Fortunately, since we don't have to spend that much money in this level, we got plenty to use in the following levels. In this chest over here, we're going to get one of the most vital items in the game, the Silver Fleece spell. This spell is absolutely vital in the endgame because it gives you temporary vulnerability, plus it has 3 uses. And the perfect way to end an easy level is with an incredibly easy boss fight. I suppose the water elemental is supposed to look like a waterfall, but he looks like the Master Control program got into his mom's makeup cabinet. All you just gotta do is walk right up next to him and all his attacks are gonna sail harmlessly over you. Just sit there and whack away at your leisure. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little rest break because the game is about to become a lot tougher from this point on. I'll catch you next time for the 3rd stage, the World of Fire.